Hello students and welcome to this video wherein we are going to discuss about the mouth parts of the cockroach. The introductory part, let's start with this. It says that it has a preoral cavity. Preoral cavity meaning the cockroach is going to receive the food in front of the mouth. It has chewing and biting type of mouth parts. This is very important. It is asked in NEET as well as MCQs. The mouth parts are movable and segmented, and the function of the mouth parts is ingestion of food. Ingestion means taking the food inside, okay? So it is going to assist in ingestion of food. Now let's start with the individual mouth parts. The first one over here is labrum. Now labrum is also called as upper lip, and it is a single, see, this is a single structure. It is not present in pairs, so it is a single. It looks like a flap, right? So it is a single flap like movable part of the cockroach. Now the function of the labrum is to hold the food during feeding. So whenever the cockroach is feeding or eating the food, the labrum is going to hold the food. Okay. So these 3 points are important which you should remember. It is also called as upper lip. It is single flap like movable part and its function is to hold the food during feeding. The next part is the mandible. See, mandible is also called as true jaw. True jaw. The function of a jaw is to cut and crush the food. Okay. So there are two types of jaws present in the cockroach. One is true jaw, which is mandible, which is going to do the function of cutting and crushing the food. And there is also another jaw, which is accessory jaw, which is going to help the mandible. Okay, so mandible is also called as true jaw. It is present on either side behind the labrum. See the location of the mandible. Now these two structures over here are the mandible. So it is present behind the labrum. Labrum के पीछे है on either side of the oral cavity. Okay, दोनों sides में है and labrum के पीछे. So this was the location of mandible. The function of mandible. See, the function of mandible is to do coordinated movements to help in cutting and crushing the food. Now these regions which you see over here, this region is for grinding. It is going to do the function of grinding. This is the incising region. Incising means it is going to cut the food. Okay, and this is going to grind the food, crush the food. Okay, the food will be cut over here, it will be crushed over here. So this is the function of mandible, cutting and crushing the food. So for cutting and crushing the food, it has two muscles which are going to help him. Which are these two muscles? Abductor muscles and adductor muscles. You should remember the name of these muscles. Abductor muscles and adductor muscles help the mandible in cutting and crushing the food. Now let's start with the maxilla. Maxilla is also called as the accessory jaw since it is going to help the true jaw, that is mandible, and it is also called as the first pair of maxilla because there is second maxilla also. Okay, so this is the first pair of maxilla, also called as accessory jaw. See, the location given over here is either side of the mouth behind the mandible. So if you see over here, see these two structures over here, this is the maxilla. It is also paired. It is present behind the mandible. Mandible के पीछे है and on either side of the mouth. Okay, either side of the mouth behind the mandible, paired structure. This is maxilla. Okay, so let's move forward. The function of the maxilla. See, the maxilla is going to hold the food and help the mandible for mastication. Accessory jaw है मतलब वो main jaw को help करने वाला है. So it is going to help the mandible for mastication and also it will help in cleaning the antenna and front legs. Okay, so mandible को भी help करेगा and it will also help in cleaning the antenna and the front legs. Now these structures over here which you see, these structures, see this structure over here and this structure over here, these are the maxillary palps. Okay, maxillary palps are present. What is the function of maxillary palp? It is nothing but it is a tactile organ. Tactile means it is sensory, it is sensitive. Okay, so these are two tactile organs present in each maxilla. So this is the maxillary palp. This one over here is the maxillary palp. These structures over here which you see, this is sclerites. Okay, these are sclerites. Now if you see in your state board, it is clearly mentioned that each maxilla consists of sclerites. Now see this one over here, first one, this is cardo. This one over here is stipes. This one over here is lecinia and this one over here is galea. Okay, cardo, stipes, lecinia and galea. These are the sclerites. This one over here which you see, this one, this is also a sclerite. This is palpifer, but it's not given in your book, so it's fine. So this is cardo, stipes, lecinia, galea and this one over here is palpifer. Similarly over here, see this is cardo, This is stipes, this is Lecinia, Galea, and this one over here is palpifer. Okay, and these two are the maxillary palps. The next one is the labium. Labium is also called as the lower lip or second maxilla. See, that was the first maxilla, accessory jaw. This is the second maxilla. It is also called as lower lip. Upper lip was labrum. Okay, the location, see, it is firmly attached to the posterior part of the head. The labium over here, this is the labium. Okay, it is attached to the posterior part of the head. If you see over here, see, this is the labium. This is the head of the cockroach, right? This is the head of the cockroach. So it is attached to the posterior part of the head, the labium, okay? Now the labium over here which you see these structures are the labial palps. Okay, just like we had maxillary palps, these structures over here are labial palps. How many are there? See, 1, 2, 3. So these are 3 jointed structures and they are sensory in function. So just like maxilla, there also maxillary palps were sensory in function. Here also it is sensory in function. These are 3 jointed structures and these are the labial palps. Now, what is the function of the labium? It is useful in pushing the chewed food. So, once the cutting and crushing of food has been done, it will push that chewed food in the preoral cavity. And also, when the mandible is cutting and crushing the food, the labium will prevent the food from falling off the mandible. Okay, so it will prevent the food from falling off the mandibles during chewing, and also it will push the chewed food in the preoral cavity. The last part over here is the hypopharynx. Hypopharynx is also called as the tongue and lingua. So, see, lingua term is always associated with tongue. Okay, so it is also called as tongue. It is also called as lingua. The location, it is present in front of the labium. See, this structure over here, this is hypopharynx. Labium के सामने, in front of the labium, किन दो structures के बीच में? Maxilla. So, दोनों first maxilla के बीच में, between the two first maxilla and in front of the labium, there is presence of hypopharynx. Okay, hypopharynx. See, at the base of hypopharynx, we have salivary ducts or salivary glands. Glands मतलब कुछ secrete करेंगे. Salivary glands मतलब saliva secrete करेंगे, right? So, salivary glands are present at the base of the hypopharynx. These salivary glands will secrete saliva. So, the function of hypopharynx is to mix the saliva. See, mixing of saliva with the food. So, it will help in mixing the saliva with the food because there are salivary ducts or salivary glands present at the base of the tongue. Okay. So this was all about the different mouth parts of the cockroach. This is a short quiz for you wherein you have to identify the following mouth parts of the cockroach. Please do mention your answers in the comment box. Also like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching.